At this time, I'd like to call the July 11th, 2022 City Operations Committee to order at 5:04 PM. Roll call. Councilor Gibbs.
Here.
Councilor Moore.
Here.
Mayor Rosenquist.
Here.
Chair Bob, I am also here. All right, all committee members received a copy of the minutes of the June 13th, 2022 City Operations Committee. We'll now entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Motion by Councilor Gibbs, second by Councilor Moore. All in favor? Opposed? None. We now have item number 2, city clerk, starting with 2.1, the discussion of city clerk monthly report. Any questions?
Any questions that was provided in the packet?
No.
Pretty standard.
Any other questions? All right.
Well, I just have one thing.
Yeah.
I noticed like the food shop license for the year was like $575. And doing the math on, there was like 5 big monthly ones. It sounded like about $60 per month.
Well,
Why would anybody get a yearly one if it's so much cheaper to get monthly?
they're really not, you can't, so if they're nonprofit, like some of them were, it's a zero cost, we don't charge for that, so those numbers are a little,
Oh, okay, 'cause I just divided it.
yeah, you can't, yeah.
Okay.
Moving on to item 2.2, we have a draft resolution authorizing the city clerk to attend Nikon Fall Training School. Do we have a motion?
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Councilor Gibbs, second from Mayor Rosenquist. Any discussion on this one?
No.
I think it looks like an awesome opportunity. I was looking into that. It's very cool.
I know. I saw it too. And I'm looking at the calendar, I'm looking at the dates. I'm like,
Monday through Friday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
it would be
exactly.
strongly frowned upon in my establishment. Take the time off to go to that, which was really a bummer.
Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of great things on the agenda, so I'm glad
Yeah.
it's to be there. All right, so I will take a vote on this. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Seeing none opposed, this will move to the agenda on the regular council meeting. Number 3, we've got community events, starting with, we've got items 3.1 to 3.3 are all kind of discussion. We've got the July 4th recap, the Parks Come Alive recap, and then a city events schedule recap. So Courtney, I'll just go ahead and you can move through those items as you see fit.
It is for the audience, that way they can hear you.
Well, I guess they all just happened, and they came and they went, and it was a whirlwind of the last week and a half or so. But I think overall we're really thankful and pleased with how everything went. The weather was fantastic, but we can't always control that. I think the things we could control, we did a really good job of engaging with our community, working with different departments throughout the city. This was a big effort by police and fire and DPW and MLD, coming together to put on things like parades and events in the parks and things like that. So everybody, remained safe. The events were really well attended. So overall, we're happy. We are booking an internal debrief that should be happening a little later this week with our city services, just to go over how everything went from an operational standpoint, just so that we can continue to tweak and fine tune things. We always get little pieces of feedback that come in from the community after something like a parade, like, can you put a couple extra cones out here, or just extra, monitoring of this intersection would make things safer. So we always like to take that and then incorporate it into our notes, so that when we go into planning for next year, we're remembering, because it's fresh right now. So yeah, I mean, that's really high level bird's eye view. Are you interested in kind of any of the other details, or I can answer questions about things?
Well, I just wanted to offer a couple of things, if that's okay.
Yeah.
First of all, I've lived here for over 30 years and I've never watched the fireworks on the city beach. Why did it occur to me to do that? I always used to go down by the D&H and like muscle through the crowd and the parking and this and that. And so this year, my son and I decided, I'm like, let's go. I didn't even know the city beach was actually going to be open because they closed, at a particular time. So for anybody who's wondering where the best place to watch the city fireworks are, it's the city beach. It was so wonderful. And it was the best venue, absolutely best venue.
Awesome.
Years past, we had fireworks on the night of Mayor's Cup as well. So I don't know if that's something that, we're interested in having reinstated. And that was always great to have the fireworks back to back, July 4th and Mayor's Cup. So, and then I was at a table for the Climate Smart Committee, and a gentleman came up and wanted to know if there were going to be any Sunday events for Mayor's Cup. And because that was always the case, there'd be something on Sunday. So I just want to give you that kind of feedback. They were looking for more stuff to do on Sunday following Mayor's Cup. So I thought I'd just
Yeah,
share that with you.
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that because we have, the city of Plattsburgh organizes July 4th, and then we partner with Rotary.
Mhm.
And we partner with Battle Plattsburgh Committee to do Battle Plattsburgh. So when we have, and we're gonna meet with Rotary to discuss the Mayor's Cup and how that went for them, and if there's anything that we can do better to help that event grow as well. When we put out an RFP this year for fireworks, I think we were hoping to include not only the 4th of July, but Mayor's Cup and Battle of Plattsburgh
Mhm.
to kind of get one provider to ease the cost burden for all 3 events. But I just don't think Mayor's Cup, the Rotary latched on to that proposal, even though that was an opportunity for them, an option for them to do so.
The fireworks were really good. They were
Good.
really
We've
good.
heard good feedback on the
We've heard good
fireworks.
feedback.
We
Yeah.
definitely had heard good stuff about the fireworks.
I was happy with that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, again, we plan to debrief with Rotary. This is the second year we've had it at the beach, and I think last year we kind of proved the concept that this was viable at the beach in an interesting location. And then this year we started to fine tune and tweak. And I think that we're still learning things. We're still learning about how to set the event up and place things in certain areas, maybe having the music in a different place, or continuing to kind of build back Mayor's Cup from
Yeah.
COVID. And so every year we're just kind of like, okay, this worked well, this really resonated. Let's see where we can go from here. I think that Sunrise Rotary did such a fantastic job engaging with community organizations like NAMI, and the police were out there, Mountain Lake
The years ago, we're
PBS.
out there too, so it was good. It was good to see those names out there.
Yeah. And Councilor Gibbs, were you mentioning that you had a table at?
For the
Yeah.
Climate Smart work.
Yeah,
Rochelle Armstrong and I,
Yeah.
I'm going to give all that credit to Rochelle. She put together all the materials. All I did was show up with some tables. But it was a great opportunity because we had a number of people come up. They were interested. We handed out business cards. I took some business cards. We made some good connections. And it was
Yeah.
just nice, people wandering around like, oh, what's this here for? And we had stuff we gave out, and
Yeah, it's such a great outreach opportunity, and you get such a good cross section of the community at those types of events, and it's advantageous for community organizations to come, and they get to maybe engage with individuals that they wouldn't normally get FaceTime with. And so I think that Rotary did a really good job in that section of things, and we brought back the sandcastle making competition, which is a beloved event from years past. So we're excited to see how we can continue to build on it and continue to grow it, and trying to strategically link the 4th and the Mayor's Cup, and then having a lot of those fun things happening in between, like Parks Come Alive and the Stranded Jumpin' in July, and just trying to coordinate all of our different community organizations so that we're all working together, and so that when we do these big events, it really just seems like full, and there's a lot of energy going on, but it takes the whole community to kind of make that work. So I always say this, I'm always open to community members approaching me and looking for collaborations and ways to work together, because it's the only way we'll be able to kind of scale at that level, I'd say, at this point. So
Well, and to that point, one of the things that we were kind of talking about a little bit before the meeting even started was that as great as the events down at the beach were, there are still a lot of people who are missing the downtown element of Mayor's Cup, and how viable that can be for businesses in terms of keeping and maintaining that downtown foot traffic. So just, something, we were talking too, I had gotten a lot of feedback, and seen feedback online about people missing the downtown aspect. But those are, I think that that's a subset of people, because I think family people are probably more beach oriented, there's more for the kids to do. So maybe next year, looking at ways to kind of incorporate the downtown element somehow again too.
yeah, this was the conversation that I had with a number of people as well. I'm a 50-50 split because I think that if our objective is to really highlight our beach property, then it makes sense. And I mean, you can't beat the view. I mean, we're sitting there and we're watching, the sailboats, and like I said, you could not have asked for a better day. And it's very family friendly. You've got everybody out there on the beach and, and having fun there. But that other part of me it feels as though downtown really needs the foot traffic. You've got all those great businesses downtown. You know, I'm thinking of a couple off the top of my head, and the restaurants and the bookstores and the coffee shops, and people are just gonna meander around, and it's within walking distance. And so that, I think, is an important component to consider for next year.
Yeah, and
I don't know if we want to set up some kind of shuttle, you know, from a particular location downtown out to the beach, so that it would be easier for families to get there. I know when I was living on North Catherine Street in my apartment all those years ago, just walk down a Mayor's Cup with my son, and that's what we would do back when it was like a whole festival. It was 2 weeks long, and that was our summer event for 2 weeks. And so I'm kind of 50-50 split in terms of, you know, should we have it at the beach or should we have it downtown?
And I think
So,
we can look to the greater calendar of events over the year and understand too, like, where are we sustaining that downtown foot traffic through other things as well, right? So we've got 4th of July, which is really centered on downtown. We're now seeing events like the downtown trick or treat, which brings a lot of foot traffic downtown. There's an Easter hunt and just First Fridays, and really trying to figure out how do we, you know, maybe the city could kind of bring some live music to First Fridays in the summer next month and really drive that
yeah.
foot traffic downtown. So
That's a great idea.
how can we pull on these different levers too, and you know, have kind of like this full and robust calendar of events that are both highlighting downtown things, beach things. Now we're doing events in our city parks. So just trying to really like decentralize and spread the love. Yeah. I think a shuttle, you know, we're always talking about accessibility and inclusivity. And I think a shuttle is an interesting piece to explore, and being more inclusive and accessible as we go forward.
I think you'd get more people, because if you're living in the city, you can just walk downtown.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's, you know, not quite as easy if you're going to head out to the beach. So I think it's something to think about, maybe talk about during your debrief.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Speaking of the debrief that you mentioned, or the one upcoming, what did you say? You said you've got an internal debrief that you've got coming up. Is there going to be any kind of, like, if there's a summary or anything kind of produced for that? Is that something that we would be able to take a look at some point?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I can put something together to review at the next operations
Awesome.
meeting.
That'd be,
Yeah.
that'd be great. Just appreciate it. So we have a sense of that. And then also just as far as the city event schedule recap, I know we've got, so there's a couple more of the Parks Come Alive events upcoming still, right?
Yep, so there is our final Parks Come Alive on August 4th in South Acres. And then there'll be a First Friday right in and around there. There's also going to be the Lake City Art Festival that's launching at the end of August, which is very exciting. That's a day, sort of afternoon long event. It's going to be happening kind of right. I feel like there's a trifecta of arts, kind of like the Strand, the Betty Little Arts Park, and then Margaret Street. And that's where this is all going to be taking place. We're going to have artisans in the street, live music on a stage, lots of kids activities in the Betty Little Arts Park. So again, trying to find another way to like center downtown, highlight the arts, bring together some really important organizations like the Strand. I think there's a lot of people in our community that have been interested in an art festival, have been wanting one. We're partnering with the Plattsburgh Arts Coalition, which is a newly formed group of artists that are looking to provide more opportunities and resources to artists in the area. So that's coming up at the end of August. It's also happening right around when SUNY Move-In Day is happening. So right now I'm starting to coordinate with folks over at SUNY to talk about how do we bring in our student population, how do we engage them in this event and make them feel welcome downtown, make them feel like it's accessible and comfortable to them. So that's kind of another facet of this event and how we continue to kind of bring more people into the fold and make it inclusive. And then obviously once we roll into September, it'll be Battle of Plattsburgh time, and that'll take over the whole weekend once again.
Are we going to open up the statue for climbing to the top again this year?
Yeah, it's gonna be open all weekend for Battle of Plattsburgh.
So
I think they're, I don't know all the details, but I think they're even planning something a little more like get a badge once you climb it, or something.
You should get a badge.
A little more like fun and engaging too, so that there's a little more incentive for folks to like do the challenge. So, yeah.
So back to your discussion about the arts, and I absolutely agree with you. And that was the whole purpose of the DRI, was to create that arts corridor. I don't know if we've talked about this before in this committee or not, but when I go to other cities outside of here, like if you go to Shelburne and you just drive down Shelburne Road, for example, all of their electric exchange boxes are painted. Is that something that has been talked about with the various arts groups? Any interest in
I
making
think-
something like that? Yeah, okay.
100%.
Yeah.
We've talked to local art, we've talked to outside art, we've talked to individual artists about just adopting an electric box and painting it. We definitely have spoken on this a number of times, and a lot of it is, you know, when we like to pay our artists, we want to pay our artists.
Mhm.
Not only just for their time and material, but for their artwork as well. So that's it's a big question for us, is how do we pay them? And
okay.
making sure that they are paid worth their value, because art, you know, as beautiful as an art box or as an electrical box is painted, we don't want to keep asking for these artists to do it for free.
Mm.
That's their livelihood, so.
So last fall, I went to see a concert in Vermont and I stayed at a hotel on Shelburne Road. And I don't know who did this over there, but I thought this was the most clever thing I have ever seen. At every corner, there was a scarecrow dressed up in some kind of outfit. I don't know who coordinated it, but it was the coolest thing. It was just very charming and very fun. You know, so like one was dressed in some kind of 70s outfit, and I was dressed in like some kind of 60s outfit. And I thought that was so cool. So I thought I'd pass that on to you too.
Yeah.
If there's anybody like in our local thrift shops who'd be interested in,
Yeah, I mean,
you
I
know,
think
doing
that's,
something like that.
that sounds like the result of a community that is, you know, really supporting and uplifting and, you know, like allowing their local artists to
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
like have their, you know, place and everything. And so I think that's what makes me excited about an organization like the Arts Coalition, where they are becoming organized, they're meeting together, and then hopefully we see some of those types of things kind of come out of that stuff. And I think that's why I've taken an interest, you know, to try to find a way to support them in ways that we can, to see, yeah, if we can start to, you know, have that kind of stuff be an outcome. So
I'd also love to see string lights downtown.
yeah, everybody on that Margaret Street survey. want
Yeah,
the
or
same
even just
lights.
down Protection Alley. You know, just, I mean, we spent all that money years ago to repave Protection Alley so that it doesn't look like some skeevy backyard, whatever. And you go to a lot of cities now and that's what you see. You see these, you know, strung up lights and these tiny little alleys, and it's just very charming and pretty. So I thought I'd pass that on too.
Yeah, I'll have to get with Bill Tracy on that one. See if he- Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for the discussion, for the feedback.
Anything further on that? Any further questions for Courtney right now before we move on to our resolutions?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you so
Courtney.
much,
Yeah.
Courtney.
Should I stay up for the next?
You'd
I might
like
have
to,
to
yeah,
speak to
sure. So item 3.4, we've got a draft resolution, approval for Upward Bound to engage in community art project on Terry Gordon Bike Path Tunnel. So, want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, in the spirit of,
Gotta make a
Oh,
motion.
sorry, yeah, can I take a motion?
Motion.
Second.
It's, that's right. Mayor Rose,
Thank
good.
yeah, in the spirit of community art and, you know, trying to make maybe some mundane things look a little more beautiful. There's a tunnel on the Terry Gordon Bike Path. And we feel like maybe it's a little bit ripe for some community art. And the Upward Bound program reached out to me a couple months ago and wanted some activities to engage their students with. So I am trying to put together this project with council approval to put some art, paint something up in that tunnel. Right now we're tossing around the idea of just painting like a rainbow in it. So as you pass through it, it's just, you're surrounded by a rainbow. Yeah, but before we kind of move forward with that project, it was important to just get everybody's agreement that we could put some paint up there.
All right, any further questions on this one? All right, all in favor?
Hi.
Aye. None opposed, this will move to the regular agenda of the next council meeting. And item 3.5, another draft resolution, approval for street closure on July 23rd, 2022, from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. for community block party on Grace Street between Ash and Cornelia Street. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion, Council Gibbs, second by Mayor Rosenquist. Discussion.
So, yeah, what will this look like? Our streets going to be locked off by Public Works, or, I mean, how is this gonna work?
Yeah, so one thing I need to make a note on is that the organizer for this event reached out to me today and needed to change the date. And is looking to propose August 20th, 2022. That's a Saturday. And the time would still remain the same.
And this is a similar request that we approved last year for Grace just a neighborhood community group that gets together. They organize this for their neighborhood every year. We approved this same closure last year. Well, as per all street closures, it does need to go to council. We'll have coordinated efforts for DPW and public safety to ensure if anything does go wrong there, if there's any for services that those are available.
So do we need to make a motion to amend the resolution then, to reflect the proper date?
Yeah, well, what we'll do, as we've done before, is when this goes to regular meeting, we'll just make sure that the date
Okay.
is on there.
Courtney, you said August 8th,
August 20th.
20,
20th, sorry.
no worries.
Well, it sounds like fun.
Yeah, it does sound like a good time. Any further questions, discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, seeing no opposition, let's move to the regular. All right, moving on to items 4, we're looking at IT discussions, which the mayor will lead.
Yes, so as you're all aware, we've been engaged with SimQuest for quite some time. Did a lot of work with them to secure our servers, to secure our email. A lot of the backups that we've already spent and invested on are in place. The big question that I think a lot of our department heads needed answered, and certainly my office needed answered, is the overlap between end user support between SimQuest, which we already pay for, that comes with the package, it's coming with the package already. And that service, that end user support service versus the end user support service that Larry has been providing. At this point, I made it clear to Larry that we would be discontinuing their end user support. That costs the city around $83,000 a year. But again, that is something that we already pay for with SimQuest and that contract. Per that conversation, there are going to be a number of in-person meetings between the Larry team, SimQuest, and my office to ensure a smooth transition, as well as communication efforts to departments and city end users on how to engage SimQuest moving forward, with the understanding that there are some service level agreements that are being developed for response times, for any additional services outside of the scope that SimQuest may or may not provide. But as it is now, we are looking at, I want to estimate an upwards of $80,000 savings for overall IT services in the city with this transition. And as that continues to develop, I'll ensure that council is updated on the progress of that transition.
Any questions for anybody on this?
No.
All right, we'll move on to item 4.2. We have another draft resolution. Authorize mayor to attend NICOM Fall Training School. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Council Gibbs, second. Second by Council Moore. Any discussion on this? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, this will move to regular agenda. And 4.3, draft resolution, authorize mayor to renew updated managed print service contract with SimQuest.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, got a motion from Mayor Rosenquist, do I have a second?
Motion.
Motion from Council Gibbs, second, and discussion.
Thank you. Right now, the city of Plattsburgh has, I provided these numbers in the packet of information. Right now, I believe the city of Plattsburgh pays around $1,000 a year for a managed print service contract, which includes some lease costs, some maintenance contracts, and then printing contract as well. Come August 18th, I believe, or sometime in August, there are a number of leases that will expire, as well as maintenance contracts that will expire. That amount of money will then increase to, I believe, $18,000 annually. $3,000 or $4,000. But again, these numbers are provided to council. The updated contract will do a number of things. It will consolidate leases. So a number of departments have different systems on different leases. There's also a disparate grouping of different machines and platforms in the city of Plattsburgh. So this will consolidate this onto the same platform. Get these out of leased machines onto the same lease. Also, the maintenance contracts that have expired, we'll put those new lease machines on the same maintenance contract. Overall, it will cost the city after August another $3,000 as an increase, which will go into next year's budget. That fundamentally will, again, it does increase annual budget. Some departments go up more, some departments go down. So depending on the demand of each department will determine where their final bill will land. But again, we're looking at this as a 2023 increase. Each department, this was work, frankly, this was work we started last year with the Simquest team. It was delayed for a number of reasons, unfortunately. But the delay did not negatively impact departmental operations or budgets. It's just a matter of other things needed to get worked out with the contract, with the people involved with the contract. Excuse me. Other than that, you know, the Simquest team, the managed print service team went department by department, talked to department heads on demand for certain services and what was needed in each department, and that's how this proposal came up. For the packet, each department has been outlined. Each department has an outline of what machines go where and the cost for each of those machines. Again, provided to council for review. That's the long and short of it.
Any further questions on this?
Mm-mm.
Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, this will also move to the regular agenda of our next council meeting. Item 5 is public comment. There's no one here for public comment. Anybody on Zoom? No, okay. Any new business to come before this committee today? No. All right, seeing none, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second,
Motion Casco, second Mayor Rosengren. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.
thanks, folks.
Thank you.